Hello and welcome back to the Game Room. You know what I love? Video games. You know what I love talking about? Games. And it seems like a lot of people these days who cover games seem to hate them. Or at least the people who play them. Well, that's not me, and that's not the 2012 of you beautiful people checking out this video here today. Well, as has become an annual tradition, the Niners could not get it done. So yes, heartbreak and disappointment again is on the menu, but that's not why you're here today. Now, I'm not shilling for it, but I kind of am. There is an official English release coming out right now of a phenomenal game on the Super Nintendo called King of Demons. So I covered this game back in 2016, I want to say. It's a lot of fun. It's a solid platformer for the SNES that not a lot of people have heard about, and Retrobit is doing a re-release of it. In fact, it's an official release of it in the West, which got me thinking, I have a lot of these official re-releases, so let's go ahead and let's do a video talking about them so I don't have to think about how I still want to die inside. Let's check it out. There's a lot of games out there, some of which you've never even heard of. That's where I come in. My name's Luke. I've been playing games since the age of 2, and I have no life.
This is my game room.
Alright, so let's get started here with the game that really put this whole thing on the map for a lot of people, including myself, and that was the re-release for the 25th anniversary of Street Fighter 2. Now, this was done by a company named I Am 8-Bit, which for some reason they would release these, and with us stupid collectors, I think I spent like $100 on this damn thing to get it shipped and everything, because I believe it's a British company, and they charged astronomical shipping. And it was one of those things where when this came out, there was a little warning that said this could set your SNES on fire. So that was kind of funny. But they also had limited colored cartridges. And it's very cool, the packaging they did of it. Now, even though I kept the saran wrap on it, I did open it, and unfortunately, I did not get that Blanca green cartridge. I do have the lame red one. Though, from what I've seen, at least, I think these are collectible. I mean, there's certain idiots out there that I guess want to buy it off of idiots like me who bought it to begin with. Not that I'm ever going to sell it. It's funny, I have Super Street Fighter, Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and then I have this, which is the re-release of the original Street Fighter 2, not even Turbo, which was kind of odd. I got all of them for the Super Nintendo except Alpha, and I've never been too crazy about Alpha's art style. I mean, Street Fighter 2, obviously, it's a fighting game. It put fighters on the map. It was one of the big things that put the SNES on the map, because the SNES version of Street Fighter came out so much earlier than the Genesis one, and the Genesis one couldn't really do the fighting style as well. And it's just a legendary game. One of those re-releases that honestly we didn't need, because the game itself was not that expensive, especially when it came out. You could probably find a complete in box version of it for around $40, $50. That has gone up in recent years, stupidly so in my opinion. Not a game I'm crazy about having in my collection. I probably would be okay selling that one if the opportunity ever arose, but it just probably won't, because I never look to sell. Hot off the heels of that one, there was a game that I Am 8-Bit did announce that I was interested in getting, and that was Mega Man X. Now, I reviewed and played Mega Man X back in 2015, and I loved it. I had a great time playing it, and I never had it complete in box. So unlike Street Fighter 2, where I did have it complete in box, one of the reasons I picked this up is I did want to have an official version of the game. Still, I think I paid about what I could have paid if I just bought a regular boxed copy, but I was chasing that elusive translucent blue, which, nope, didn't get it, but hey, that's okay. Comes in this cool collector's thing, and honestly, as much of I'm a Mega Man fan, but I'm not a Mega Man fan, but I am a big fan of Mega Man X. Music in it is great. The game design was really nice. Getting the Hadouken was fun. And I really enjoyed my time playing this. I'd like to get through and check out Mega Man X2 and 3, as I do have those on the SNES. And it would be nice to see where that series goes, along with the other Mega Mans. Like, my Mega Man knowledge is definitely lacking. I have gone through and I've beaten 1 through 8 and Mega Man X. But that's where I tapped out, and I gave up on Mega Man 11 like I talked about, and I actually gave up on Mega Man 9. Wonder if that's on my next games I gave up list. All right, next game. So this is another game I covered on the channel, which was a real release for the West. It is actually the rarest Super Famicom game, which is another nice thing, is that King of Demons, the one they're re-releasing now, is also a really rare and expensive Super Famicom game, but not as rare as the last Super Famicom game ever released, which was Rendering Ranger R2. And this was a really nice, fun Turrican-style game mixed with a shooter. And I covered this a few years ago, had a blast playing it. I played it on a repro cart, and really, Stage 8 gets insanely difficult, but the run and gun stages are fun. You have access to all three of your weapon types, which you can switch freely amongst. But Rendering Ranger R2, very fun game. One of those ones I love to see re-released, or get an official release, because we never got this game. And it is pretty dang good and very visually impressive for the SNES. Like, especially one of the stages, I want to say stage 6, has some crazy city backgrounds in it, a la kind of an Einhander style. But the fact that this is happening on an SNES is kind of nuts to think that it can do that. Now, here's one that I generally don't pick up these compilations. It's not really an official re-release. I consider those to be the actual game. This is a compilation, and it's all three of the Joe and Mac games. So it's got Joe and Mac 1, it's got Congo's Caper, and it's got Joe and Mac 2. Now, growing up, I only knew about Joe and Mac 1, and it is one of the best co-op games on the SNES, bar none. Super fun. It's on other systems too. I know there's a Genesis version, there's an NES version. They did a remake of it, or a re-release, kind of a modern remake take on it. First one is still fantastic. I've never actually played Congo's Caper, but it's known as Joe and Mac 2 elsewhere. And then the third game, Lost in the Tropics, was one of those games where when I started collecting heavily, I had to snatch that up, and I'm glad I did. I think I got a complete in box copy for around $50, and it's around $100, $200 more, $400. So it's crazy now. It went up a lot in value. And allegedly, that's more of an RPG type game, which is kind of nuts to think that they would take a co-op action platformer and make it RPG-like. And I think it's 2 players as well, so that's one I've been waiting to get into. Like, sometimes I'll pick up a game and I know I'm gonna like it, and I just want to wait for the right time to play it. Ideally 2 player. But yeah, this is a re-release of all 3 of these. This was made by Retrobit, which does a lot of these, and I know this might even still be available for purchase. It's a compilation of all 3 games. It was pretty cheap. I want to say it was like $25, $30, unlike the other ones, which tend to be around $60 releases. But they're always highly packaged and well produced and well worth it, in my opinion, if you're into this kind of thing. Like, this is much more of a collector-centric video, if you haven't noticed. Now, another one that I was super excited to get, another one, the limited run game. They did a bunch of NES games, and one of the first ones they did was SCAT on the NES, or Special Cybernetic Attack Team. And this is kind of like a mix of Contra and Forgotten Worlds. Your characters float all over the screen. It's not necessarily a shooter, but it's kind of like, it's more run and gun than shooter, but you have free range, and it looks so fun. I had to pick it up. And it's also very, very expensive. And that's what's nice about these official re-releases, is if you can get a game that is super expensive, yes, it's not the original release, but for me, this is good enough sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. In fact, sometimes I'm stupid. I'm stupid, and I'll actually buy the game, and then they'll announce something like Battletoads Double Dragon, an official re-release, literally like 2 months after I bought a copy of it, which the most famous thing this game was known for in my eyes was the fact that 8-Bit Eric caught slipping on this game. I know more about that than the actual game itself. It's a mix of Double Dragon and Battletoads, uses the Battletoads engine, I believe, and is still very difficult, nowhere near as difficult as Battletoads, but a solid beat 'em up from what I've heard. And I literally had just picked it up for the NES. I got it as a congratulations for getting a new job type thing. I think it was like $100. But I'm such a sucker for these. I'm like, whoa, it doesn't have the box and manual. Well, I could have an official re-release now. All right. You think I would sell the other copy, but I'm not. I'm stupid like that because I can't get rid of stuff. But yeah, having this one, Another one of those I think this one was Retrobit as well. Like I said, Retrobit does great work. Anything they do with these re-releases, you should pick up if you like them, because they do high quality work and they're not super overpriced like the ones that I Am 8-Bit did, because they charge you astronomical prices up front along with the shipping. It's just, all right, I get the chase carts and all, but you're being a little ridiculous. But yeah, that's a fun one. Now, here's one that I was very, very excited to. Back in line with being a super expensive one, this was Metal Storm. So Metal Storm is a legendary game that kind of a hidden gem, has gotten a lot more popular in recent years. And the whole gimmick of it is that you change the gravity field of your mech. So in levels, you can change the floor to the ceiling and the ceiling to the floor. And then you traverse through these different levels utilizing that mechanic. Now, I'm sure you've seen similar mechanics like this. I know Mario has used it. Other games have used it. From my knowledge, this might be the first game that really heavily leaned into it, or at least did a very good job with it, and is very, very pricey. It was $100 back in 2015, $100 to $80, something like that. In fact, I was at Retropalooza 3, and I nearly picked it up. I think Wood, of all people, picked it up from the guy next to me. And the guy who I got my SNES Shadowrun from, and who I almost picked up Little Samson from, but I didn't. Some guy undercut me on it, which ended up working out for the best, because then my work was willing to front that bill, unbeknownst to them. Sorry, Ben. But yeah, Metal Storm's a fun game, really good game, really good one, and well worth picking up. Now, unfortunately, a lot of these things I'm showing you are going to be out of print now, but just know that they are out there, and you can likely find a cheaper alternative than looking and getting the actual copy of it in some of these. Now, the last one of the I Am 8-Bit games that I bought was at the same time as Mega Man X. Another example of a game that I didn't have boxed, where I had the loose cart, and that was Mega Man 2. And I was chasing that elusive transparent card again. Didn't get it. Got the powder blue one. But Mega Man 2 is a very fun game. I really enjoy this game. I enjoy the soundtrack. I enjoy the ease of it. I mean, it's definitely one of the easier Mega Mans, because Metal Man is broken and is so strong on a lot of different enemies. And it has the memorable boss encounters, things like Flash Man and the different, like Metal Man, all that. And it's just probably my favorite of the original run of Mega Man. I like 3 a lot, but I'm still, I'm that classic Mega Man 2 Andy. I don't have that much of a dog in the race. So I enjoy 2 for what it is, because it's probably easier than some of the other ones. And I had to pick that up. And do I regret it? Not really, but I stopped. I stopped buying the... So when I Am 8-Bit did Earthworm Jim, I didn't bite on it. And I think they've done a couple other ones that I just let go, because it was too expensive to get what they were getting, because they were re-releasing common games. Mega Man 2, Mega Man X, and Street Fighter 2 are not hard to find copies of. Earthworm Jim is not hard to find a copy of. So, yes, the colored carts are cool, the packaging is cool, but I would much rather have an official release of a game we didn't get, much like this next one, which is a game called Trip World. Now, I first heard about this game from a Radical Reggie pickup on a Metal Jesus video. I don't know if it was or it might have been a Hidden Gems on the Game Boy Color, but I knew nothing about it. And this was a Game Boy game, and this is called Trip World DX, so I think they actually colorized it. So this is a official release of Trip World, which did come out in, I want to say PAL territories, and I think Japan got it. More or less, it looks like a Kirby platformer, kid-friendly type thing, where you can take powers from others, but it just looked really, really cool. And when Limited Run did a release of this, I had to bite. Like, they got an all-day sucker in me with these things. A game that was not released in the West. That's a lot of what founded the channel, is I wanted to pick up these games. That's why I picked up stuff like Demons, King of Demons. So the fact that this is official and I don't have to, and I have a reliable cart, was well worth it in my opinion. And that is one that I definitely look forward to checking out. Now this one is kind of a cheat. It is the official release of Fire Emblem 1, the Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light. Now this came out for the, I want to say the 30th anniversary of Fire Emblem. They released a big box. I did a unboxing of it. Now this is just a, not even an NES, like it's not on the NES. They just made it look like this is what it would have looked like had it come out in 1990. And as a self-proclaimed Super Fire Emblem fan, seeing this cool, clear cartridge-looking thing, I just had to get it. Now, it came with a download code. I haven't actually played through it on the Switch. That's what it's for, is for the Switch. But I did play through Shadow Dragon on the DS, which more or less is a remake of this game. And then I played through the first part of Fire Emblem Mystery of the Emblem for the SNES, which is also a retelling of this game. So I think I've seen as much of the first Fire Emblem as I'm going to currently. So I was alright with not actually playing through this game. Fire Emblem, one of my favorite tactical RPGs, one of the first tactical RPGs to ever come out. Nintendo released in 1990 and is really, really cool. And this release was just one of those things where Nintendo, I always say you gotta support companies when they do stuff that you like. You gotta open up your wallet. Fire Emblem is a series I will always support with my wallet. A thing like Trip World that didn't come out here, I will support. I'm gonna buy these things if you make them. So that's what you guys know. Because that's what you have to do, so you don't get microtransactions to death. Alright, last few here. And we are going to do a part 2 of this at some point, as I do have other ones, but I'll probably wait until that copy of King of Demons comes. So it'll probably be like 6-7 months from now. So, on the Sega channel, there was a game that we got here in the West that was never released, but it did come out in Japan, and I think PAL territories, and that was Mega Man The Wily Wars. Another Retrobit collection. And I just, even though I'm not the biggest Genesis guy, this is just up my wheelhouse, getting these games we didn't get. What's funny is I don't really remember ever seeing Mega Man and the Wily Wars on the Sega channel. What that is it's a remake of Mega Man's 1, 2, and 3 for the Genesis. And I think they even have some extra bonus features too at the end of the game that you can unlock. But just no one really played it. In fact, there was a while there where I think people was like, was it a rumor or what? Did it actually? Like, they didn't even know it was on the Sega channel, because there's people like me who had the Sega channel, didn't even know it was there. And I think it was just because it was Mega Man. And like at the time, there was 6 Mega Mans, and then there was a 10th Mega Man and X, because you didn't know. I mean, I'm reading Nintendo Power as a 7-8-year-old, and I see Mega Man 10. Holy crap. I can never play this series. There's 10 of them? How is that even possible? And so probably when I was playing the Genesis channel, or Sega channel, I would see Mega Man The Wily Wars and be like, oh, there's another. God, no wonder they have 10. There's another one right there. But yeah, glad to have that one. Nice to be able to play that officially on the Genesis. That was one of the more popular homebrews, especially back when the kind of homebrewing repro karting started, was Wily Wars. That was a big one, so it's nice to have that one. And then another one that's a big one, and I did a recreation of this intro, which is still one of the favorite things I've ever made, is for the legendary Zero Wing. Now, this is when Retrobit did the Toplin collection, which I regret not picking up all of them. I just got Zero Wing, because at the time, I was not the biggest shooter fan. I've kind of gotten a lot more into these vertical shooters and horizontal shooters since then. But they had Zero Wing, Firestarter or Fire Shark, a couple other ones. But this one is just, that intro is so legendary with the all your base are belong to us, the what you say, you know what you're doing, and all that. And I had a blast recreating it. And the game's actually a lot of fun. It's pretty damn difficult too. Not so difficult you can't get through it, but one of the levels, I want to say the last level, where they have all these missiles coming at you non-stop. Thank God there's unlimited continues, because otherwise getting through that section was an exercise in patience and luck, because it took me a long ass time to beat that. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the last one we're going to talk about today is another Natsume game, and that is called Shadow of the Ninja. So Ninja Gaiden wasn't the only ninja game back then. In fact, I want to say they are re-releasing a modern version of this game right now. Now, I'll be honest, I don't have much background with this game. A lot of these I have played. This is one of the few I haven't. It's one of those things where it's an expensive game, like around $80, $100. You can get it complete in box, official. Let's pick that up let's support this this process, and you know, we'll try it out. And what's cool is it's a 1 or a 2 player game. I don't know if it's simultaneous. I think it is simultaneous. So that's pretty cool. That's something the Ninja Gaiden never had. And it's just, if you can't tell, I'm a big fan of these. I like original hardware. I like collecting for it. Even if I'm playing these original hardware new versions on my analogs or my, you know, AVSs or whatnot, this is just what I'm interested in. I love doing it. Let me know what you think about it. That's all you get for this week, guys. As a reminder, I release a new video every Tuesday. It's, you know, once again, I'm blown away by the level of support and comments. We are 300 watch hours away from getting full monetization, and then I can bother you guys with mid-roll ads and maybe start actually getting enough money to buy that new computer and then up the game and get the live stream, which we are working on that. I want to try and do a live stream. Let me know what day would you guys prefer for these backlog progress reports. I've beaten 4 so far. I'm actually pretty impressed because, to be honest, the new game landscape this year is kind of barren. Compared to last year where it was back to back to back, I can't tell you a game I'm really that looking forward to playing. But yeah, let me know. I'm thinking about either a Friday night or Saturday night, something like that, you know, when the kid goes to bed. But yes, as a reminder, I release a new video every Tuesday. It's been so nice getting a hold of you. Take care.